Right now in the Wichita-metro area, there are two separate markets running at the exact same time. One's running at about 2.4 months of inventory, and one's running at about 6.4 months of inventory. So whether you're buying, selling, moving up, moving down, or buying your very first home, the strategy that's going to work best is completely dependent on the market that you're in. So let's start by talking about what months of inventory actually is. So months of inventory measures if we were to add no more homes up for sale in the market. Based on how quickly homes are currently selling, that months of inventory number tells us how many months it would take for us to completely sell out of homes. And it's judged by basically three tiers. So anything less than 6 months of inventory is a seller's market. Anything that hovers around that 6 months inventory is a neutral market. And then anything above 6 months is what we would call a buyer's market. Now, this is all data that I track weekly, not monthly, not quarterly. I look at this data every single week. So what we're going to be talking about today is the most up-to-date numbers that we have. So let's start by talking about the market in general. So earlier this year, like February, March timeframe, our months of inventory number was hovering right around like 2.1 months. And as I mentioned earlier, now we're seeing about 2.4 to 2.5. So while technically, and what the headlines may tell you is we're seeing an increase in inventory, what that actually is just seasonality. So when I go back and I look at past summers, we've seen the same increase summer over summer over summer. Now, if you go back several years ago to today, we have definitely seen inventory increase. But here locally in the Wichita metro area, we're not seeing the months of inventory increase, that inventory increase, as much as maybe other parts of the nation actually is. Now, what we are seeing is the days on market has gone up. So this time last year, we were running somewhere in the mid 20 days on market, whereas now we're running close to the mid 30s. So it is taking a little over a week or so to sell a home. So what does that mean for buyers and sellers in today's market, in this general market? Well, for buyers, it just means that you maybe have a little bit more time to decide on that home. However, you're not going to get the big discounts or the price decreases that you might have expected. In fact, what this means for sellers on the same token is, as a seller, you need to be pricing closer to what the market value is actually showing. And we're actually seeing evidence of this happening. So when I go back and I look at the list price to sales price ratio, which measures, what a home is listed for and what it actually sold for, right now we're running about 98% of that original list to what it actually sold for. And that's better than it was a year ago, which means home sellers and agents are starting to adapt to today's market. So now let's talk about the other side of the coin, where we're seeing months of inventory in the mid sixes, and that is in our luxury market here in the Wichita metro area, which we consider to be anything $750,000 or higher. Now, this market is absolutely fascinating because it changes, it seems like, on a weekly basis. So earlier this year, our luxury market was seeing months of inventory in the low to mid fours. It jumped up into the sevens as early as just a few months ago. And today we're seeing it back into the mid sixes, like at 6.4 months of inventory. So it just seems to increase all around. So you might just say, well, what's causing that? Well, in fact, here we are actually seeing a big increase in inventory. And that's what's really fascinating about our luxury market. It's been very consistent with the number of sales that are happening week over week over week. But what we have seen, and part of this is due to new construction, we've seen an influx of inventory in that higher price range, which has pushed that months of inventory number up. Now, days on market for luxury is sitting around 59 days, which is actually really, really good for the luxury market. So if you're buying or selling in this market, this is what it means for you. As a buyer, again, you're going to have a lot of inventory to choose from. You can take your time, and you are more likely to get maybe a little bit better deal in our luxury market currently. Now, as a seller, just like the general market, you have to pay attention to what's actually happening and price where the market is showing the home needs to be. So let's recap this and make it simple. So here in the general market in the Wichita metro area, if you're a buyer, you got a little bit more time to choose. However, don't expect a discount. As a seller, you need to price where the market is showing your house to be. If you're in the luxury market, you've got some time. And as a buyer, you're going to have more inventory to choose from, which may mean you get a little bit better deal. As a seller, again, you want to price closer to where the market actually is showing and not shoot for some aspirational number. That's why it's really important when you hear market data being shared, whether it's locally or nationally, that you understand what that data is actually telling you. As we've kind of gone through today, we've got two separate markets. So depending on what price point you're in, can mean two different things. And a one size fits all number is not going to cover everything. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video and I hope you found the information educational. I'm a nerd. I love this stuff, which is why I track it weekly. One, because it is fascinating to me to see how the different markets move. But two, that helps me to be a better agent because I'm able to help my clients no matter if they're buying in a $300,000 price point or $1 million price point. I understand the markets that are happening in each one and it can actually give them advice based on the market that they're in. So I am curious, what price points are you interested in? Are there any particular neighborhoods here in the Wichita Metro that you would like more information on? Leave those in the comments and I'd be happy to do a future video or reach out to you specifically and talk to you about your neighborhood specifically. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future videos. Talk to you soon.